Have you ever felt like you were an afterthought in the lives of those you care about? Times when your achievements, brilliant ideas, or valuable contributions went unnoticed. These types of situations can be challenging, especially when you strive to act with integrity, make good decisions, and be there for others but still feel invisible. This feeling becomes even more painful when it involves people close to you, such as family, close friends, or partners. Stoic philosophy teaches us that expecting recognition is futile since it depends on factors beyond our control. Betting on this expectation often results in frustration. But what if you could change this perception and become a genuine priority for the people around you? There is a way to earn respect and recognition through a practical, informed approach. By applying clear and effective strategies, you can transform the dynamics of your relationships. Now that we have identified the problem, it is time to explore solutions. Let's look at 9 essential steps to being recognized and valued by those who truly matter. Step 1. Create a sense of dread about your absence by using emotions to your advantage. The psychological concept of loss aversion teaches that people tend to fear losing something they already have more than they are excited about gaining something new. Based on this, you can strategically adjust the way you relate to others, encouraging them to value your presence more. This approach begins with a controlled dose of emotional withdrawal. Consciously reducing the level of intimacy and confidence you share creates a sense of uncertainty. When emotional closeness is partially withdrawn, the other person begins to reflect on the impact of the possible absence of this connection. At the same time, it is important to expand your network of interactions. Showing that you invest time in other relationships shows that your attention and energy are not focused exclusively on a single person. This movement communicates that your life is rich, dynamic, and full of sources of satisfaction, which naturally increases your relevance. However, the key is balance. Excessive distance can be interpreted as coldness or disinterest, putting at risk the connection you want to strengthen. This technique therefore requires tact. It is essential to understand the emotional nuances of the other person before applying it and adjusting your approach to avoid irreversible damage or estrangement. By cultivating this dynamic carefully, you create space for the other person to reassess how significant your presence is. This strategy, used sensitively, can renew connection and reinforce your importance in the lives of those around you. Step 2. Increasing your value through the strategy of unavailability in relationships. The concept of quality over quantity is fundamental to understanding value in human relationships. More than the frequency of encounters, it is the depth of interactions that defines the emotional impact and strengthens bonds. Working consciously with unavailability does not mean distancing yourself, but rather highlighting the relevance of your presence, making it more special. Always being accessible can create the false perception that you will be there at any time, which can lead to the risk of being underestimated. The key is to balance your presence, ensuring that the time shared is meaningful, but without being constantly on call. By recalibrating your availability, you send a clear message of self-worth and mutual respect. This does not mean isolating yourself or abruptly limiting interactions. Rather, it is about demonstrating that your life is multifaceted, rich in activities and relationships outside of that specific connection. Showing yourself to be independent and engaged in other aspects of your routine highlights that your time has intrinsic value. This perception of exclusivity increases others' appreciation for your presence. The key is to create a balance where your presence is desired and not taken for granted. This dynamic makes each shared moment more valued and meaningful. A smart and sensitive approach to implementing this strategy is to maintain a consistent but punctual connection, making it clear that your availability is an intentional choice. This shift fosters a sense of priority and recognition. By embodying the principle of prioritizing quality over quantity, you reinforce your role as someone essential and valued. This approach not only increases the perception of your value but also fosters a deeper, more respectful connection, supported by balance and meaning. Step 3. Creating intrigue through mystery. Mystery has a magnetic power in relationships. The natural human curiosity about the unknown is a powerful force that can make connections more engaging and memorable. By intentionally incorporating a touch of enigma into your interaction, you can pique the other person's interest and heighten your relevance in their perception. This strategy starts with the art of gradual disclosure. Instead of sharing everything about your life all at once, drop in small hints about your interests, passions, and experiences. This drip feed keeps their curiosity alive, turning the process of getting to know you into an engaging and stimulating journey. Another aspect is to cultivate a slight vagueness when answering questions. While it's essential to be authentic, avoiding exhaustive details creates an air of mystery that invites the other person to want to know more. This touch of ambiguity subtly asks for more attention and effort on their part to understand your essence. Revealing too much about your past in the early stages of a relationship can erase that mystery, so be careful when sharing your personal stories. Allowing your narrative to unfold gradually creates a sense of anticipation and keeps the connection fresh and interesting. The key is to sustain the intrigue over time, revealing layers of your personality little by little. This approach not only piques curiosity but also makes you perceived as someone who is captivating and worthy of continued attention. The careful balance between sharing, withholding, and creating suspense positions you as a unique and valuable figure in the other person's life. By creating and maintaining this aura of mystery, you reinforce the dynamic of the relationship, fostering ongoing interest that helps solidify your position as a priority and lays the foundation for a richer, more lasting connection. Step 4. Nurture priority through investment. The perception of value in a relationship often grows in proportion to the effort invested. When someone dedicates time, energy, and emotions to a connection, they naturally come to see it as more meaningful. This step uses the principle of reciprocity to encourage this perception of importance, transforming mutual investment into a powerful tool for prioritization. An effective way to cultivate this is to create situations in which the other person needs to actively invest in you. For example, declining invitations every now and then, in a polite and subtle way, can create a situation in which the other party has to make a greater effort to secure your company. This move conveys the idea that your time is valuable and that being with you requires consideration. Balance, however, is essential. You need to alternate between moments of availability and withdrawal, avoiding extremes. If you are always available, it may seem that your attention is guaranteed. On the other hand, being too distant can be interpreted as disinterest and push the other person away. The key is to introduce a moderate level of challenge, just enough to stimulate emotional investment without creating barriers. A careful application of this strategy avoids unexpected pitfalls, such as feelings of rejection or devaluation. The goal is to foster a healthy cycle in which the other person's effort reinforces the meaning of the relationship while maintaining a balanced and respectful emotional connection. By creating a sense of challenge through moderate investment, you encourage the other person to value the connection more. This mutual effort increases the perception of priority and strengthens the bond, making it more meaningful. Managing this dynamic sensitively transforms shared time and energy into valuable relational currency, reinforcing the importance of the relationship in a natural and lasting way. Step 5. Boosting self-esteem by prioritizing your needs. Prioritizing your own needs is not an act of selfishness but of self-affirmation. It's about making conscious choices that protect your emotional integrity and value in relationships. When you realize that you're not being treated with the respect you deserve, prioritizing your needs means removing yourself from situations that diminish your value. This approach begins with being clear about what you expect and deserve. Identifying and avoiding relationships that consistently fail to honor your value is an essential act of self-respect. By distancing yourself from interactions that undermine your dignity, you create space for healthier connections based on mutual recognition. Being seen as a priority by others starts with how you position yourself in your own life. When you put your needs at the center, you begin to attract people who respect and value that stance. Authentic relationships thrive in an environment of reciprocity, where both parties recognize and meet each other's needs. It's important to remember that while you can influence how you are perceived in a relationship, you don't have complete control over how others feel or act. This reinforces the importance of building self-esteem from the inside out. Focusing on strengthening your self-worth creates a solid foundation for relationships based on mutual respect and care. Cultivating a positive sense of self not only builds your confidence but also acts as a magnet for meaningful connections. By prioritizing your needs and engaging in relationships that reciprocate that consideration, you transform your self-image into a magnet for people who value you. The essence of this strategy is to surround yourself with individuals who reflect the importance you place on yourself, avoid disrespectful interactions, and create an environment of mutual respect. In this way, prioritizing your needs not only boosts your self-esteem but also lays the foundation for relationships that truly honor and recognize your worth. Step 6. Cultivating a balanced distance. Human psychology is deeply attracted to what seems out of reach. The principle of scarcity, where the perception of something rare or difficult to obtain increases desire, is well documented. In relationships, this dynamic can translate into a powerful strategy, balancing closeness and distance to enhance connection. The goal here is not to create emotional distance, but rather to demonstrate that your life is rich and diverse, with interests and activities that do not depend solely on the other person's presence. This approach conveys that you are independent and value yourself, creating a space where the other person can recognize your importance without feeling like you are always available. Maintaining a strategic distance prevents you from becoming predictable or easily accessible. This does not mean complete withdrawal, but rather finding subtle ways to show that your time and attention are valuable. Engaging in other activities, investing in your hobbies, and maintaining a vibrant social life all contribute to this dynamic. This attitude reinforces the notion that you are not solely dependent on anyone else for your happiness. As a result, the other person begins to view you more appreciatively, realizing that your presence in their life is a privilege rather than an obligation. However, the key to success with this approach lies in balance. Too much distance can be interpreted as disinterest and even cause resentment, while too much closeness can diminish the perceived value of your presence. The key is to carefully adjust the level of attention and accessibility, ensuring that distance acts as an element that sparks attraction rather than a barrier. Creating this dynamic involves avoiding a desperation for attention and skillfully managing the allure of the unattainable. When executed well, this strategy fosters an environment where your value is gradually recognized, leading to natural priority in relationships. By cultivating a balanced distance, you demonstrate your independence and ability to remain interesting while preserving the mystery and uniqueness that make your connection special. This approach not only strengthens your position in the relationship but also fosters a genuine desire to invest more in your company, cementing your importance in the other person's world. Step 7. Strategic retreat on initiating communication. Communication is the foundation of any relationship. However, how it is initiated, and who initiates it, can profoundly shape the dynamics between the parties. While it may seem natural to be the one to start conversations when trying to strengthen a bond, this approach can sometimes diminish the perceived value of your presence. When someone consistently assumes the role of initiator, the other party may unintentionally begin to take this effort for granted. This can lead to a decrease in interest and even a weakening of the perceived importance of the relationship. The strategic retreat proposes a conscious shift, letting go of the primary role of initiator and observing the impact this has on the dynamics of communication. By no longer always being the first to make the move, you create space for the other person to feel the need to take the initiative. This subtle but powerful shift can lead to an increase in the recognition of your importance as the effort to maintain the connection becomes more balanced. This does not mean abandoning communication or creating emotional distance, but rather recalibrating the interaction. The goal is to allow the other party to actively demonstrate their interest and effort in the relationship. When the other person chooses to initiate contact, They are naturally reaffirming the value they place on your presence. It is important to approach this strategy with sensitivity. Strategic withdrawal should not be confused with indifference or manipulation. It is, in fact, a conscious pause, a moment to observe how the relationship adjusts when you change your stance. This technique also allows you to identify the level of involvement and reciprocity of the other party. If the other person notices the void left by your absence as an initiator and makes an effort to fill that space, this demonstrates a mutual recognition of the importance of the bond. If not, it may be an indication that the balance in the relationship needs to be reassessed. Ultimately, the success of this strategy lies in moderation and observation. It is a delicate adjustment that aims to strengthen communication, promoting reciprocal and genuine engagement. When applied carefully, strategic retreat can result in a more balanced connection where both parties actively contribute to the growth and preservation of the relationship. Step 8. The art of cultivating people. The happiness we find in others is one of life's most rewarding experiences. But this pursuit comes with its own risks. When our happiness is solely dependent on someone else, we risk disappointment and, even worse, we can lose our own emotional autonomy. This creates a dangerous scenario where the expectations of others can begin to shape our own happiness, pulling us away from our true essence. The key to avoiding this emotional abyss is to cultivate your own happiness. By seeking joy from within, you not only strengthen your own well-being, but you also become a naturally attractive and balanced presence. Self-reliance is a magnetic force. When you radiate happiness generated by your own passions and accomplishments, people are naturally drawn to your positive energy. This happiness is not just about feeling good about yourself, but also about living in accordance with your own passions and interests. Pursuing what brings you genuine joy not only enriches your life, but also invites others to engage with you more deeply. Your authenticity becomes a beacon that signals to others that you are living a purposeful life on your own terms. When you are content and fulfilled independently, your presence becomes a positive contribution to the relationships you build. Instead of relying emotionally on others for your happiness, you become a source of enrichment, helping to create a more balanced and healthy dynamic. Your personal happiness does not diminish the importance of interdependence in relationships, but rather enriches it. Successful relationships emerge when both parties bring with them a sense of self-fulfillment, which transforms the interaction into an exchange of joy, not a search for validation or dependence. By cultivating your inner happiness, you create a solid foundation for becoming a priority in the lives of others. When self-sufficiency and self-actualization become part of who you are, you attract genuine and deep connections, where each individual's happiness is respected and celebrated. This step is a celebration of authenticity and the transformative power that emotional self-sufficiency brings to relationships. By investing in your own well-being, you not only become a more balanced person, but you also contribute to an environment of true and enriching connection. Step 9. The art of being ready to walk away. The idea of walking away from someone you care about may seem difficult and even painful, but it is actually one of the most powerful steps you can take to assert your value. Being ready to walk away is a clear statement of self-worth, a declaration that you will accept nothing less than the respect and priority you deserve. By making this decision, you are not only protecting your well-being but also sending a message that your presence is valuable in any relationship. The right person, recognizing this value, will naturally strive to keep you in their life. This step is not about playing games or emotional manipulation, but rather is an action guided by moral integrity. It is about doing what is right for your own well-being and happiness. This commitment to yourself means that your choices will always be aligned with authenticity and honesty. It is important to understand that not all of your actions will be immediately recognized or valued. People may not immediately realize the importance of your presence, especially if they are used to it being constant. At this point, patience becomes a virtue. Over time, as you stand firm in your self-respect, people will begin to notice what you bring to their lives, and your presence will be more appreciated. Being ready to step away is a journey of self-confidence and self-appreciation. By cultivating a belief in your own worth, you become a source of light for yourself, guiding your decisions and actions. Patience in this process is essential because as you stand firm, others will begin to recognize the intrinsic value that you bring. This readiness is not a gesture of indifference, but rather a catalyst for transformative change. Gradually, you will be seen as a priority, not just an option. This step is a liberating path, as it allows you to choose connections that respect and value what you have to offer while preserving your dignity and self-respect. We have all faced moments when we feel neglected or deprioritized. However, it's crucial to remember that our journey is unique, and others' priorities don't always reflect our true worth. Instead of letting this affect our self-esteem, we can use these situations as opportunities for personal growth. The key is to prioritize ourselves and take care of our happiness and well-being. When we do this, others begin to notice and value who we are. Even when we aren't at the top of someone's list, never forget, you have the power to prioritize yourself. This isn't selfishness. It's self-compassion and self-determination. By taking this path, we create healthier relationships, make decisions that align with our true purpose, and live a more fulfilling and meaningful life.